Interestingly, BBC Three Counties Radio, it was quite mild this morning, I thought. When I was chilly indoors, but I think I was chilly because I thought I was going to be chilly. When I stepped outside, it was quite pleasant indeed. Lots coming up on the show today, including furniture-based friction in Wolverton, council conservatory controversy in Welwyn, and the local smelt it, but who dealt it? Justin's investigating complaints of a cat pee pong in Luton. Who writes this rubbish?
Me.
Yeah. If you want to take part, facebook.com/BBC3CR. You can send me a text, 81333, start your text 3CR, or you can give me a call, 0844...
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call this morning. Now, do you remember when politicians said that giving doctors power over their budgets was a win-win situation? Great for everybody. Well, try and tell that to the people of Wolverton in Milton Keynes. They've been looking forward to the grand opening of a brand new health centre. It's due to happen on Friday. Yeah, as long as someone stumps up for the furniture. Catherine Doyle is our sitting-down correspondent. She joins me in the studio now. This seems ridiculous. What exactly is going on here?
Well, the patients group in Wolverton have brought this to our attention. They say that a £120,000 bill for the furniture, amongst other things, had been promised by the Primary Care Trust.
Right.
Trouble is, the Primary Care Trust was abolished early this year and replaced by a new organisation, the CCG, the Clinical Commissioning Group. The Clinical Commissioning Group now in Milton Keynes says it's not their responsibility, and in any case, they signed nothing.
Oh, I see, OK.
So despite having this brand new health centre for the community, it's on time, they're really excited about it, it's replacing a really old building. Yeah. Planned handover this Friday, was supposed to be happening on time. It may not happen at all, as there aren't any suitable chairs, furniture, all those bits and bobs.
120 grand for chairs and furniture seems a little bit excessive. What's wrong with the chairs, the old chairs in the old health centre? Why can't they use those?
According to the patients group, the old chairs don't meet current health and safety standards. They're covered in fabric and they are therefore deemed unsuitable. So the patients group is appealing to the community to provide chairs which are either plastic or wood and can be cleaned easily. It's like Christmas, you bring the emergency chairs round. It's that kind of scenario.
There'll be deck chairs and things like that, won't it?
Well, as long as they're plastic or wood and they can be easily cleaned. Marie Osborne wants to hear from you. She's a local town councillor.
There's huge amounts of public money that have been spent on this building. The situation in the health centre at the moment, the old building, is just shockingly bad, and people are desperate for a new building that, you know, really respects this community.
I'm staggered by this. They're asking people to bring chairs.
That's what it sounds like.
There's a meeting this afternoon. What's that all about?
Yeah, we understand there's a meeting face-to-face this time as opposed to, I guess, over the phone between NHS England and the practice managers. NHS England says it's now offered to lend the money to the practice and hopes that this will resolve the issue as soon as possible. However, the patients group say the practice doesn't want to accept the loan. It was not the deal. It will be seen as them backing down. And, of course, it still means that they have to find the money over time. Yeah. Here's Mark Lancaster. He's the MP for Milton Keynes North.
I'm clear in my mind that there was an obligation made by the Primary Care Trust to provide the capital funding to equip this place, and it's not being delivered, and I'm determined that it will be.
What's the NHS saying officially?
Right, here's a statement from the CCG. New NHS organisations, clinical commissioning groups, have no responsibility for primary care premises. This may be confusing to the public, as previously, before April 2013, primary care trusts did manage GP contracts and estates. NHS England area teams, and a statement below, now manage this responsibility and hold contacts with primary care services. OK, here's what the spokesperson for NHS England, which covers Hertfordshire and the South Midlands, told us. There's been considerable correspondence between NHS England and Wolverton Health Centre, and we've worked with the practice to try to resolve the issues. However, there are legal guidelines within which we have to operate, and we have to respect those. In writing to the practice, we confirmed, this is NHS England, that we were mindful of the potential disruption the decision may cause, and in order to enable the opening of the new surgery, NHS England offered to allocate the funds necessary to complete the project on a loan basis. Mutually suitable arrangements could then be made to reduce the practice rent reimbursements accordingly. We envisage this can be carried out over several months in order to minimise the cash flow implications on the practice.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
No one's... dearie me.
Well, this is the final bit. We hope to continue discussions to get the issue resolved as soon as possible so patient care is not affected.
So if they don't get the £120,000 for these chairs and tables, and it's all kind of desks and all kinds of things like that, it won't be able to open.
No, and also the doctors who are in charge of the practice and the money, as the NHS would say, will be liable for fines if they overstep Friday's deadline. If they have to stay in the old building, it's going to cost them thousands and thousands of pounds.
But if they've been promised the money by an organisation that no longer exists, then it's not the doctor's fault, is it? Or is it naive of their... I'm shocked and confused by this. Well, if you're going to the doctors, it seems you need to take one of those... What are those little things that old people have? They're like a walking stick, but you can open it out into a chair.
Oh, like a shooting stick?
Yeah, they're good, they are, aren't they?
I don't know. If you've got good balance.
Catherine, thank you very much for that. I mean, I found that story absolutely incredible. If you want to have your say on that or anything else this morning, 08459 455 555. Hey, one of the Dimblebees. Which one is it?
David?
Probably. He's had a tattoo. He's like 80 years old or 75 years old or something.
75.
Thank you. That's ridiculous, isn't it? Ian Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Lots coming up on the show this morning. It's going to be quite busy, I suspect. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Yes, Dimbleby. David Dimbleby. He's 75 years old. He's had a tattoo on his hairy shoulder. I'm speechless. This man is the voice of televised politics and regal royal celebrations on the BBC. You've paid for him to have a tattoo of a scorpion on his back. He's got a scorp tat on his shoulder. What on earth is he thinking? I've said this before. I'm not a fan of tattoos. If you've got a tattoo, basically, I think you're scum. I know it's harsh. I know that's harsh, Catherine. But I really do think that tats they do nobody any favours, particularly not the person who's wearing them. Awful things. You haven't got a tat, have you?
No.
Kels?
I've got a giant bulldog.
Where?
On my bottom.
Okay. Wow. There's
That's a lie.
your microphone's down now, so it's actually fact. I've said it before, and I'll say it again many, many times. You've got a tattoo. You've just let your body down. Why would you do such a thing? Oh, I'm an individual. Well, you're not an individual, because everyone's got tattoos now.
Now you're a rebel if you've not got one.
Exactly.
And have you noticed you can date people by the type of tattoo they've got?
Go on.
So, early 90s, take that.
Yeah.
Dolphin,
yeah.
like Sam Cam, on foot.
Oh, God.
But normally on hip.
Yeah.
Then it went up the arm, didn't it? And they had like a barbed wire or daisies.
Or the Celtic thing.
Then it went Celtic.
Yeah.
Then it went sort of Maori, the base of the spine.
Yeah, the tramp stamp. Yeah, we all know what that means.
And
it's on there, like just on the bit of your hand.
Yeah, that's
Cheryl Cole.
That's what happened next. And then the foot one, like little stars.
It's disgusting.
Things.
It's disgusting. Oh, wait, we won't find one person. I guarantee now, we will not find one person this morning who thinks that David Dimbleby having a tattoo at the age of 75 is decent.
I do.
Sorry?
I do.
Sorry, Kels, can't.
I do.
Okay, I can't hear. Sorry, Kels. There we go. 08459 455 555. Not one person with any sense at all will think that David Dimbleby having a tattoo at the age of 75 is sensible. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? 08459 455 555. Say that again, Kelly. Press the button and say it. There you go, you see. This is what she's been shouting in my ear for the last 30 seconds. It annoys me. It annoys me at the end. It's a good song up until just the giggle. Come on, Joni, you're better than that. Hey, as part of our big tour of the three counties, this week we're in Welwyn Garden City, covering the stories that matter to you. And residents in Welwyn Garden City are furious, it's in capital letters to emphasise how angry they are, over hypocrisy at the council. After years of being told that any modifications undertaken to people's homes have to be in keeping with the historic look of the city, Welwyn Hatfield Borough Council seem able to ignore this rule and renovate their buildings any way they choose. At present, plans are underway to build a £4 million glass extension to their campus east. Not exactly historic, is it? Well, our reporter, Lorna Hankin, has more.
Founded in the 1920s, Welwyn became the country's second garden city, behind Letchworth. Every road here has a wide grass verge, and it's laid out along tree-lined boulevards with a neo-Georgian town centre. There's a scenic parkway, and most of the buildings are red brick, including the current council building I'm standing opposite. But the Borough Council say they've outgrown it and want an extension. The problem is, not everyone is happy about the plans.
I'm Sean O'Reilly, I'm chairman of the Welwyn Garden City Society. The design principles used in the Garden City are very strong, and frankly the council has no business to break its own rules in putting up a building that simply doesn't fit. Proposed to be the most magnificent rear entrance you ever imagined to any council property. It's only going to be used for the council chamber itself, which by and large will be used by councillors. So I think it gives completely the wrong impression to the residents who, frankly, would believe their councillors are their elected representatives and not ones who are going through such a ceremonial and wonderful entrance.
But it's not just the fact it will cost over £4 million, or that it's not in keeping with the conservation area it stands on, that is getting people upset. Dennis Lewis has lived in Welwyn Garden City for most of his life.
It's always struck me as a nonsense that any authority, like a borough council or district council, is required to give itself planning permission for anything that it does of this nature. Seems to me absolutely wrong. The county council should be the authority that actually gives planning applications from borough councils. We maintain that there hasn't been proper consultation with the people who are going to pay for it. We think that there should be proper consultation. If I'd been the leader of the council, I would certainly have realised the sensitivity, and I would have called a public meeting and said, look guys, you're all paying for this, come and tell us what you think. Nothing like that has happened.
Well, later on in the show, I'll be talking to the leader of the council about the plans and the head of the town society, which is made up of group residents. If you want to have your say, 08459 455 555. Yes, Mr. Edward Grant. It popped up on my screen. I thought I'll have that. Where is Eddie Grant these days? Can we get him on the show? No, let's not. But where is Eddie Grant? Is he still alive? You do worry about these people, these pop singers, and you've not seen them for years and years and years. You do wonder, how things are going. I went to see, I was going to say a wonderful musical. That would be a lie. I went to see a musical at the weekend with my mum, Dreamboats and Petticoats. Basically, what it is, the concept behind it is brilliant. There was a compilation album of music from about 1959 till about 1963, pop songs, okay, called Dreamboats and Petticoats, and it sold really well. So someone thought, I know, let's write a musical around this compilation album. And it's very, very loosely strung together story of people in the 60s starting a band. It's very, very loosely strung together story. It was excellent, though. But there was a chap in it. Let me put this to you, dear listener, because some of you will know who this man is, okay? The posters said, starring Mark Winter. Mark Winter, with a Y. I thought, OK, Mark Winter's in it, brilliant. And it turns out that Mark Winter is the old boy in the show. He plays the granddad and the head of the youth club. But then it turns out he had some hits in the 1960s. It also turned out he wasn't, he sang like your granddad would sing. He sang like your granddad would sing. He's thoroughly entertaining. I'm sure he's a wonderful gentleman. He sang a little bit like granddads do. Right, if you're listening to this now and you know who Mark Winter is, could you give me a call? It was puzzling me all weekend, and now I don't have the internet on my phone. I can't Google stuff at a whim. 08459 455 555. Does anybody have any idea who Mark Winter is? And I thought it was odd that they would put his name across all of the posters and the banners and everything, starring Mark Winter. When I've got a pretty good knowledge of 60s music. I'd never heard of the gentleman at all. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. This is BBC Three Counties Radio. I'm Iain Lee.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning! Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. It's the third quarter of an hour of the first hour. That's right, isn't it? Yes. And it's at this point in the show that Catherine Boyle joins me in the studio.
Hello.
Yes, and we have a look at the papers. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give me a call, and you can come and join us. It's like a kind of a relaxed chat, isn't it?
Yeah, and if you've got your own paper, you could read along.
Who likes this bit?
I do.
Yeah!
I do.
Yeah, who wants to make me and Catherine a cup of tea?
I do.
Nice one, Kelly. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Let's do the tattoo story, then I'll get to the text that we've received from someone who has had a tattoo and is upset when I said that...
He's a tattist.
He's certainly something. What is the tattoo story today?
My scorpion tattoo's dream come true, says TV's Dimbleby. If you're reading along, Daily Express, page 3. Distinguished broadcaster...
I like it when you do that.
David Dimbleby has stunned colleagues and family. Do you think...
Well, he stunned me. I pay his wages out of my wages.
Well, you spend your money on some ropey old... by joining the celebrity craze... Is it still a celebrity craze? I think...
I think the craze moment has passed.
He got a tattoo at the age of 75. That's the big deal.
Ridiculous.
The delighted Question Time host has fulfilled a lifetime's ambition with a scorpion permanently inked. That's up there with like a Black Panther, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or a tiger.
Mr. Lover.
Exactly, David.
On his hairy old shoulder.
David, what's that on your back?
I like David and his brother, Jonathan Dimbleby. But I think he's ridiculous for having this done. I think it's obscene, I think it's disgusting, and I think shame on him.
I think it's ridiculous, but I think brilliant.
Why do you think brilliant?
Do what you want. When you're in your 70s, who cares what anyone else thinks? Do what you want, please yourself.
Kelly Betts, you're the only person that thinks it's good.
I think it's brilliant.
Why?
Because at the age of 75, he can do whatever he likes. When I get to 75, I'm not going to listen to anybody.
No. At the age of 75, you should not be defiling your body. He's got away with it for so long, and then he's vandalising a gift from God.
Good for him.
It's like going and urinating on the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem, which is
if
something...
he's 75, he can do it.
No.
I want to brace you for something, Iain Lee.
Yeah, hey.
This is the 60s generation.
What?
They don't listen to your rules.
Well, they should listen to some rules. Anyway,
You want you all to just fade away.
Hey.
This is this generation. They'll do what they fancy.
Fade away. I said earlier on that people who have tattoos are scum. Well, we've had the kind of it's a text that's sort of written in English. I'll read it as it's written. Morning. There's only one full stop in this, by the way. Morning. So I'm scum, Iain, because I have tattoos. I think you, the letter U, should think before you open you mouth. Respect talk to people how you expect to be spoken to, and I wouldn't call you scum because of the way you look.
I would.
Yeah, okay. But what the point there is, that person, I'm guessing it's a man, I hate to think that a woman would get a tattoo, that man can barely string a sentence together.
You think it's the tattoo that's done it?
Well, no, they go hand in hand. Stupidity plus tattoo equals...
Well, actually, Sam Cam has one. It says here on page 3, if you read further down, once you've got over the shock of David Dimbleby...
Yeah.
Posh girls and stars, all dying, spelt with an E, to get inked. Everyone's inked these days, from the Prime Minister's wife to Wholesome Good Time star and Kelly Betts lookalike Felicity Kendall.
Oh, you do look a bit like Felicity Kendall. Yeah.
Let me have a look.
Before she got hot.
Brilliant, thanks.
08459 455 555 or send your badly spelt angry texts 81333. Start your text 3CR. Some good news!
I don't look like her.
You do.
How
or
old
a little
is she?
Jennifer Aniston
She's
type.
67.
Hands up, who looks like Felicity Kendall?
I do.
Excellent, I'm glad you admit it at last. Well done. Good news, guys. Good news, pop fans. You a pop fan?
Always.
I love the pop. Guess who's getting back together?
Biggie Smalls.
Busted. 'Cause I've been to the year 3000. Not much has changed, but they live underwater.
That's quite a lot that's changed.
And I copped off with your great-great-granddaughter in the future of time. I don't know the exact words.
35.
There we go, that's it, you see. They're getting back together.
I didn't know they'd split up.
They split up a long
Aren't
time
they
ago.
McFly now?
No. I've lost them. I'm trying to find the page because... Anyway, 2/3 of them have got back together.
Is the handsome one still in it with the eyebrows?
Matt Willis. Charlie's not in it.
Oh, I'm not interested then.
Oh, where's the blooming page? Anyway, they've got together with... here it is. They've got together with McFly. So they're calling themselves McBusted. And McBusted are going on tour, guys. Catherine Boyle, you come with me, yeah?
No, it's going to be McCack.
No, it's going to be McBrilliant. It's going to be McWicked.
No.
Come on.
I didn't like them apart, so together's going to be a nightmare.
I interviewed Busted, and I've got a signed copy of one of their compact discs.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I interviewed Billie Piper. She was doing Purcell's Muckiest Child competition. It was in the lull between her pop career and Chris Evans.
Muckiest Child?
And she was, when you could still say things like that, she was delightful and tiny and very beautiful.
She did a great song. Honey to the bee, like you for me. Honey to the bee.
Don't remember that one.
It's a good one. It flopped. What else have you got?
Outrage Nancy sues over Sven's love life revelations. Oh, please, keep 'em to yourself. We kind of know what went on. We know enough. This story I found interesting. We should remember him. 500 strangers paid tribute to Bomber Command hero.
Yes.
A Dam Busters hero who faced having just one mourner at his funeral was honoured yesterday with hundreds of strangers paying their respect. This is
That's nice, isn't it?
Harold Jellicoe Percival, who died last month with no close friends and only a handful of living family dotted around the globe.
Well, that's nice.
You know what I think's a shame, though?
Go on.
I think you'd have preferred the company during his life.
I know what you mean, yes. He was a lonely old man. No one went to look after him when he was alive, and then everyone feels a bit guilty because he's died on his own.
Go to his funeral.
That's Britain, guys. 08459 455 555. Go on.
There was one more thing I thought was interesting. Other end of the age spectrum.
Yeah.
A senior police officer's warned that too many young people are being criminalised for behaviour that a generation ago would simply have been regarded as growing up.
Oh, like what?
Youthful hijinks. Jackie Cheer, who's the Chief Constable of Cleveland and the Association of Chief Police Officers lead on children and youth, said society is becoming intolerant of young people in public spaces, and the public and police were too ready to label what looks like growing up to me as antisocial behaviour. We're not used to them playing out in the street when they're small, so when they're bigger and they're released into the wild at 14 and they're a bit too loud and they don't know how to behave around people, we complain.
I was thinking over the weekend, after seeing this musical, Dreamboats and Petticoats, what is the best rock and roll song of all time? And I've seriously...
It's not Rock Around the Clock.
No, it's not. It's not rock and roll. That's like sort of hard country for
People were gutted
adults.
when they saw him come off the plane, weren't they? All the girls thought he was going to be some sort of young hot
He's just
hipster.
Fat, bald man.
He was an old fella.
No, I've been giving this serious consideration over the weekend. I think this song I'm about to play is the best rock and roll song of all time.
Oh, no.
Yes! Yes! Come on. How could you not like that song, Catherine? It's wonderful.
Family parties.
Oh, wonderful.
Beige buffets.
Yeah, oh, beautiful. Christmas.
And my auntie's lining up to give us a bit of the Nolans. Followed by Wigwam Bam.
There you go. We'll see if we can dig that out. Coming up, that smell in Luton. And no, I'm not being rude about my co-presenter, Justin Dealey. Co-presenter, I know. I'm being generous to him, bless him. Right, let's get the latest weather now. I've got no idea who's doing it. Let's see.
Surprise, it's Kate. Good morning.
Thank you, Kate. Sorry, I do apologise. Away you go.
That's all right. It's okay. That's your forecast.
525,600 minutes.
We've got a text here from Tim. Tim, get yourself down to the laser surgery. If you play Wig Wham Bam, I'll get my tattoos removed. Tim, thank you very much. Your wife can send us the cheque for £5 in the post. You see? We'll be talking about tats in a bit. 08459 455 555. Now, remember last year, the one before this one? So not this one, but well, you know, it was the year that Vauxhall Way in Luton smelt like cat pee. Well, it's happening again. And once again, the finger of blame is being pointed at Vauxhall Motors. Well, we know who smelt it, but who dealt it? Justin Dealey's on the case. Justin.
Ian, good morning. You well?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you very much. I'm annoyed by this smell because we investigated this closely last year and I thought it had been sorted out.
Well, do you know what, Ian? When I came down here last year, of course, every time we came down here, I couldn't smell it. This morning, guess what? I can smell it. It's here. Every few seconds you get this waft and it does smell like cat wee. It's absolutely disgusting. It's on Vauxhall Way, very near to Vauxhall and, of course, the airport as well. As you mentioned, we were here a year ago. At that point, I couldn't smell it, but here's what locals had to say in November last year.
It's really bad. I tend to pick my husband up from the airport quite a few evenings a week, but I don't remember smelling it sort of during the summer times. It tends to be this time of year. Well, it just smells like cat wee.
Madam, have you noticed a really bad smell around here?
Yeah, over by the car factory, the IBC.
Just how bad does it get?
Really bad, even in the car with the windows and everything up, you can really smell it strong.
Well, here's somebody else who's noticed this bad smell. How would you describe the smell?
It smells like cat's pee. That's what it smells like. I've got 2 cats, I know.
It's a rank, musty...
cat wee smell?
No, stronger than that.
Really? Stronger?
It's really strong. It's gagging. You can taste it. It's so foul. It's really acrid. It's nasty. It's really acrid. It's not something we've imagined. There's too many people. It's stale, foul water, but as I said, it's tinged with chemically cellulosey smell.
Doesn't sound fun, does it, Just?
No, it doesn't. Vauxhall Motors, they told us that we are working closely with various internal and external parties, including the Environment Agency, to identify the root cause and address this issue. We are doing all we can. Later, you're going to be talking live to the Lib Dem councillor David Franks. He's trying to do something about this. He's saying, look, this is not a laughing matter. Some people may be laughing at this story, but it's having a serious effect, because if you live nearby here, you've got to put up with this smell, particularly every November, and it's disgusting, Ian. Disgusting.
Not good at all. You've got someone there with you, have you, Justin?
Yes, I've got Pete Layton with me. Pete's a local businessman who works for pinkpinkparking.com. Pete, describe to our listeners just how bad this smell is, please.
Well, every now and then you get this... Hang on, excuse me, there's a plane going above. Every now and then you get this terrible smell of cat's pee. In fact, it's not only November, it happens quite often. I've been here a year now trading, and there's something else really strange. Once a month at least, we get all this fluffy foam coming out the drains all around the roundabout Airport Way there, leading up to the airport. I don't know if there's anything to do with that, but it's certainly an uncomfortable smell, and we have to shut all the windows during the summer as well.
So that's new to me, because IBC, over to our left-hand side, we can almost see this smog coming out of the building, but they're saying that they can do all they can to try and eradicate this, but this is quite an interesting problem with the council. So it's like a white foam that's coming out of the drains here.
Yeah, it just literally comes out of the manholes. You can see it blatantly. It fluffs up like shaving foam. It just happens every now and then. God knows what it is.
And can you get away from this smell? I've heard people that say even when they're driving through with their windows up, they're still getting the smell. They still smell of it. Their clothes smell of it.
It's constantly there. It's like walking past a cat litter.
Wow, it's really that bad.
It's like an ammonia. It's a cat's pee.
I mean, it's all very well talking about IBC and Vauxhall, but what is your message to Luton Borough Council this morning? Because, you know, they should be looking into this, and seriously, shouldn't they?
Well, as a new business, we'd certainly like... we employ over 20-odd people here. We'd certainly like them to be in a comfortable environment to work, you know, and if there's anything to be done about this smell, then please do something about it.
So you noticed it, your staff have noticed it. What about your customers? What are they saying to you?
Well, yeah, they're more interested in getting away on holiday and getting to the bar up there, but they're not that bothered about it. But I dare say there's a couple of them mentioned it in the past because they thought it was a smell that we had in the office.
And you just want it dealt with, and quickly?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. That's Pete Layton joining us live on the programme from pinkpinkparking.com, a local business here. And Ian, everyone again talking about this horrendous smell in Luton, which is not great.
Now, Justin, let me play devil's advocate. Is it really that bad? Shouldn't people just, get on with it?
I mean, Ian, I can only report on what I'm experiencing, let's say. And a year ago, I couldn't smell anything. I was honest about that this morning. It's coming across in wafts, and it does smell quite bad. It does smell quite bad. And you've heard some of the stories.
Yeah.
Those people talking about it is something which is affecting their lives. And if it's affecting their lives, it should be dealt with.
Yes, shouldn't it just? Now, Justin, can we send you... I don't know if you've seen this story about David Dimbleby getting a tattoo.
Yes, I have.
At the age of 75. Could we send you out to get people to say that he's a silly old sausage?
Yes, I think we can do that, yes.
Or at least ask them their opinions, perhaps. I'm guessing...
But he is, though, isn't he? Come on, 75. What was he playing at?
I do think it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody who would think that getting a tattoo at 75 is a good idea.
Great.
I can't... Sorry, Kelly?
I think good on him. He's 75. He can do what he wants.
He can do what he wants.
I think it's horrible, but fair dues.
No, I think he should be back.
I think his scorpion should be bigger. It should be across the whole of his back.
I want to see a crouching tiger.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
Ian, when I was 18, I was seriously considering getting a tattoo. Yeah. That's when I was 18. When I was 19, I woke up.
Yeah. When I was 19, I was seriously considering getting my eyebrow pierced. Yeah, I know! I didn't. I got something else done instead. Justin, thank you very much. I didn't get anything done. Okay, listen. If you've got a tattoo, seriously, there has to be something wrong with you. Your body is beautiful. Not yours, the lady next to you. Why would you do anything like that to it? Shame on you. This is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Lots to crack on with this morning, as always. Keen to get your comments and your tweets and your texts and all those sort of things. So, what are we talking about? Well, let's have a little look, shall we? Furniture-based friction in Wolverton. Council Conservatory controversy in Welwyn. And David Dimbleby has had a tattoo at the age of 75. I say, shame on him. He should know better. They're awful, trashy, disgusting things. No one looks better for having a tattoo. Apart from Mike Tyson's, that one's quite nice. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. Send me a text, 81333. Start your text 3CR. Or, best way to do these things is on the phone, isn't it? 08 459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Dennis in Dunstable has managed to slip through the net. Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning to you, dear boy.
Yes, sir.
Can I say something straight away? Yeah. It's not often I agree with you.
Oh.
Yes, in this case, first of all, tattooing, yes.
Yes.
And then Kelly. Does she look like Felicity Kendall? Because if I was 70 years younger, she'd never stop running. Now then, tattooing.
Yeah, that means what I think it means. Okay, right, go on.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yes.
I would have chased her all over the place.
Playing kiss chase, of course.
God helps if she'd stopped.
Yes.
However, that's beside the point. Tattooing.
Okay.
I totally agree with you, mainly because, like you, I was full of enthusiasm to be tattooed.
Yes.
Until I joined Nelson's Navy.
Yes.
And the very first thing they put me straight off by saying, have you got any tattoos? Because we're going to make a record of this, so if you go over the wall, we'll know how to catch you.
Oh.
So that, straight away.
So they use tattoos as a way of identifying cowards?
Yeah, well, it's like when you join up, they want to know if you've got any scars and things like that.
Yes, okay.
So that put me off straight away.
Yeah.
So
they look awful, Dennis. They look disgusting.
The only reason that you should be tattooed is put your blood group and all the rest of it.
What?
On your body. So
why would you do that?
No, listen. The German SS used to do this under the armpit, so that if they got an arm blown off, at least they'd know.
Hang on a second. You're not saying the German SS actually had some quite good ideas?
No, I'm saying it's a good idea to identify people from a point of view medical.
Right. So the Nazis would have their blood, and they also did other tattoos that weren't anywhere near as
under their
useful.
Armpit.
So they would tattoo their blood group under their armpit in case their arm got blown off.
They just still have the thing on there. Yeah.
Have you done that then?
No, I haven't. No, I've still got all my arms. I couldn't care less. My problem now is with wrinkles across my forehead, it looks as though I've been barcoded. So I don't need to be told who I am.
Kelly wants to ask a question. Go on. Kelly?
What if you had your leg blown off? What use is that information on your armpit?
Well, it is. Well, it's nothing. But you lift your arm up and they've got your blood group.
Yeah, but why? But what if you've only got my leg?
Well, it doesn't matter about your leg. As long as you've got the blood group on your arm, they can deal with you. They don't put it down your leg as well.
What if your armpit gets blown off?
No, you don't get your armpit. If your armpit is blown off, you're dead.
Well, thanks very much for that.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
What a very macabre phone call that was. From start to finish. Really horrific imagery there. Quite haunting. Now, let's have some good news, shall we? Yes, the people of Wolverton and Milton Keynes are getting a brand new state-of-the-art health centre. Hooray! Little bit of bad news. They'll have to bring their own chairs because the doctors who run it have been handed an unexpected bill for furniture that they thought the NHS was covering. More bad news. If they don't pay it, they won't be able to open on Friday and they'll get massive fines. Even more bad news, if they get fined, they won't be able to afford the furniture, so they'll have to stay in their old building, and if they stay in their old building, they'll be getting massive fines. All hopes are pinned on a crisis meeting between NHS bosses and the practice managers this afternoon. It really does sound like it's just an incredible story. Joined now by Sarah Dockery, chair of the Wolverton Health Centre Patient Participation Group, a catchy little title. Good morning, Sarah.
Morning.
It's a real last-minute panic. This health centre is due to open on Friday. How long have we known about this problem?
Unfortunately, it's not been known about for very long. I should stress that they are opening next Monday. The move will take place over the weekend. That has been decided. So
right.
Thankfully, we have avoided some of that bad news. But yes, it has left the practice without furniture for the new building. So that's the main problem at the moment.
So how are they going to open if they haven't got anywhere to sit down?
basically they've decided to transfer across as much of the furniture as they can that's in a fit enough state to do so, to at least manage in the short term. Unfortunately, the chairs that are used in the waiting room are just not in a fit state to move across. They've needed replacing for some time, and that's just obviously been put off because of the knowledge of having a new building. So it's those chairs for the waiting room and what the patients will sit on in the doctor's surgeries that we've been left without at the moment.
So the doctor's fine. Doctor's got a nice, comfy lazy boy, but the patients will have to stand up in the waiting room and stand up when they go and see the doctor, like being summoned to the headmasters.
No, hopefully not, because we're working really hard. The practice have gone ahead and ordered the chairs that they would like, the chairs that they will need to have that meet all the requirements and health and safety requirements that they need to. These are made specially, so they will take a few weeks to produce. And because of all of this, that's obviously happened quite late in the day. So that is going ahead. But in the meantime, the PPG have committed to providing at least 50 chairs that can be used in the meantime. So we are looking for people in the community or organisations who may have, stacks of plastic or wooden chairs that can be cleaned easily, that maybe could be put in the waiting room just for that period to make sure that the health centre can be used and function, but obviously so that you don't have to sit on the floor.
Who messed up, Sarah? Whose fault was this?
It's still in the process of being resolved, obviously, but it seems that an agreement was, well, the PPG are certainly satisfied that there is evidence that an agreement was reached and spoken about under the old PCT, and of course this year, unfortunately, there's been a lot of change in the NHS, so the PCT no longer exists, and it seems that sort of around that changeover there's been some confusion, and at the moment it seems that monies that were promised that now fall under kind of NHS England area team auspices are not being honoured at the moment.
But surely, you say that this was only discovered quite recently. That it couldn't have been a last-minute thing. You would have thought if you're going to spend 120 grand on furniture, you would get that order in quite early, wouldn't you? It's not the thing you do a couple of weeks before.
No, it's not. And
so it's bad planning on someone's part there.
The negotiations have been carrying on for the last for the last few weeks. Obviously, it was hoped that this would be resolved quite easily. Unfortunately, there was communication happening between the practice and the various bodies before it was actually realised that there was a problem. So, in other words, they were sort of led to believe there wasn't a problem until there then became apparent that there was a problem. So, unfortunately, then the time it's taken to try and resolve that has obviously added even more time onto that.
The chairs that have been ordered that will come in a few weeks, who's paying for those?
The practice are having to pay for those out of their own pocket at the moment, which will nowhere near be the amount that was promised, because that was going to cover a lot more than just the chairs. So they have used their reserves to pay for those. Obviously, it's not a cost that they cannot meet. As you say, it's an essential item, and so that now is purely down to the time involved in making them that's causing the delay.
Patients aren't going to be that happy if they're coming along and having to stand, are they? You know what doctors like. It's full of ill and old people.
Absolutely, and there's no way that we're going to allow that to happen. Both the practice and the PPG are committed to making sure that the health centre is totally usable when it opens next Monday, and there will most definitely be. We've already acquired at least half of the chairs that we're going to need from various very generous community organisations who've allowed us to borrow their chairs, and we're hoping that for some more of those, or maybe even local businesses who feel they could fund some sort of cheap and cheerful plastic or wooden chairs from some of the big retailers would be great.
It's embarrassing, isn't it? You've got this slick new premises that's all super duper and modern, and you're going to have people sitting on old school chairs and chairs from church halls. It's a bit embarrassing, isn't it?
I think we could choose to see it like that, but I think the people of Wolverton and the surrounding area are a lot more resilient, and we hope that they can focus on the fact that actually we are incredibly lucky to have this brilliant new health centre, and to credit to Mansell, the builders, and all the contractors involved, that they have got this ready on time. It's been on track all the way through and gone up incredibly quickly, really. So we're hoping that people will focus on that, and in the knowledge that the rest will come in time, and hopefully, like you say, there is a meeting happening, and we hope that there will be a positive resolution.
What do you hope So who is meeting today, and what do you hope will be the outcome?
I believe the different parties involved in negotiations are meeting, and obviously we hope very much as a patient group that the outcome will be one that recognises any monies that were agreed can be maybe paid, and really as a patient group we're just keen to see the best outcome for the 15,000 patients that the surgery serves, because obviously that's ultimately the big deal, is that we're not really worried about the furniture or the surgery or the doctors, everyone is focused on the fact that these decisions that are made high up affect the patients that use the centre on a day-to-day basis.
Well, Sarah, so it opens bright and early Monday morning. I wish you, everyone the very best of luck with it. We may send one of our people down just to have a look and see what the chair situation is.
Thank you very much. We'd love that, because I'm sure, aside from what people are sitting on, there'll be lots of things to celebrate and look at in the new centre.
Sarah, thank you very much indeed. Sarah Dockery, Chair of the Wolverton Health Centre Patient Participation Group. Yes, let's send somebody down there to have a little look to see just how that chair situation has resolved itself. How did that how was that allowed to happen? You don't think a few weeks before, Steve, Dr. Steve, have you ordered the chairs? No, Dr. John, I haven't. Oh, well, I'll do it. Hang on a second, we haven't got that money for the chairs. Oh, nuts. What are we going to do? Surely, if you're going to spend £120,000 on furniture, that would have been sorted out months and months ago. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Some of your comments from Facebook on tattoos. Rob says in regards to Dimbleby, good luck to him. If it was me, though, I would have had it somewhere I could see it every day. Alison says, I'm not as old as Mr. Dimbleby, but I had a tattoo a few weeks ago for my 48th birthday. Age shouldn't matter. Oh, Alison. Joy says, silly old sausage. And Rob says, never too late, good for him. No, I agree with Rob. I don't know who that is. Never mind. 08459 455 555. No one can defend a tattoo. It's impossible to do such a thing. Now, Welwyn Garden City is pretty much a conservation area as part of the legacy of its founder, Ebenezer Howard. Any new buildings or modifications to old ones have to be in keeping with their surroundings. So, if a wall's too high or made of the wrong colour brick, you can forget it. So how come the council are allowed to build a modern glass extension on their offices, which, by the way, is going to cost £4 million? I don't know, but maybe Sean O'Reilly can help. He's chairman of the Welwyn Garden City Society. Morning, Sean.
Well, very good morning to you.
This doesn't seem right, does it?
It's definitely not right. They're breaking their own rules.
So how have the rules been imposed on the residents in the past?
Well, in the past, and certainly up to now, and it's still the case now, residents are not permitted to build extensions which are more significant than the original building, and they have to use the same materials.
So everything has to be in keeping. It's the same colour brick. It has to be the same style.
Correct.
Okay. Well, then, a £4 million glass conservatory whacked onto the side of a building, that doesn't sound like it fits in at all.
Well, the design certainly doesn't fit in at all. It's the most glorious back entrance to a council building we've ever seen, complete with almost a ceremonial way to the back door.
So, have you mentioned this to the council?
They have. They know our views very decidedly.
And what have they said in response?
Well, the first response they've made is to actually modify the design, the original design, in their planning application.
Right.
But actually, what they've done is they've changed the materials to fit in with the town, but what they haven't done is change the overall structure, so that it still doesn't fit in with their own rules, namely that the new extension is subservient to the whole building. So they've actually said that this is been done after listening to residents. Well, it's breathtaking, really, because the new design makes the situation worse.
How are the residents reacting to this?
I think they're very angry.
And what are they saying to you?
Well, they're saying to us that we're quite right to have raised the issue, and they're very supportive of what we're doing. We've objected to the proposals, the planning application, and we're raising a petition to have the issue debated by the full council.
Well, later on in the show, Sean, we're going to be speaking to John Dean, leader of Welwyn Hatfield Borough Council. I'd love to have got you two on together. But have you got a question or a point you'd like to make to Mr. Dean?
Well, I think the key point now is that we have now been approached by a number of residents, including architects, who have come out with a proposal which would meet the council's own legal planning rules and possibly meet their own objectives in a new building. We would like to put this to the council, but we don't know whether they will listen, because so far no consultation has taken place between ourselves and the council. All that's happened is they've called us to a meeting and told us of their thinking and communicated that to us.
Right,
we haven't actually been able to make any real dialogue.
You have alternate plans, do you?
We have a suggestions which should be considered.
Right, I'm going to make sure that Mr. Dean, he's coming on in an hour, so do listen, Sean,
Okay,
and you might want to call back. I'm going to put those. I'm going to make sure Mr. Dean at least looks at your plans and listens to your plans. Okay,
that's wonderful.
I shall make sure that happens. Sean, thank you very much. Indeed, Sean O'Reilly, chairman of the Welwyn Garden City Society. They're very upset with the plans that have been drawn up. Well, we will be speaking in about an hour's time to John Dean, leader of Welwyn Hatfield Borough Council, and asking him what on earth he thinks is going on here. 08459 455 555. So, David Dimbleby. I like David Dimbleby. I like both the Dimbleby boys. Wasn't there a third Dimbleby boy? Was there a third Dimbleby, or was it their dad?
I think there was. So there's Jonathan.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Are you not thinking of his father?
That's what. Maybe. Kevin.
The vicar.
Sorry?
The vicar?
That's Derek Nimmo.
The vicar of Dimbleby.
Oh, for goodness sakes. What only apologise. I have to keep issuing... dearie me. Who thinks that we should apologise for that ridiculous joke?
I do!
OK, well, I'm sorry. Dimbleby's had a tattoo, and I've lost a lot of respect for him. It's of a scorpion, and it's on his hairy old shoulder. No one deserves a tattoo. No one deserves a tattoo. Awful, hideous things. And, oh, look, no one has been able to call in and defend tattoos. I tell you why. Because you're probably still in bed asleep. Or you're watching Daybreak. 08459 455 555. Well, Justin Dealey, you've not got a tat, have you?
I think you're wrong there. I think they're waiting for Jeremy Kyle.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That came from Justin Dealey's mouth, by the way.
Oh, we're harsh, aren't we?
Justin, just whereabouts are you at the moment?
I'm now in the urinal section.
OK, excellent. And you've been looking at tattoos.
Yes, later we're going to get some opinions on David Dimbleby and whether he's done the right thing at the age of 75. But
he's not.
Yeah, OK, but other people may have, obviously, different opinions.
They're wrong.
Yeah, OK. I have been talking to people who love tattoos, Ian, and I just put the question to them, why? Here's what happened.
Now, Darren, you're telling me that your dad's got 82 tattoos?
Yep.
And what do you think about these tattoos?
I think they're quality, mate. Yeah, it's good. My dad loves it because he's got all my kids' names on him, on tattoos. He's got all of his, all my sisters, all my brothers.
Interesting stuff. And have you got any yourself?
I'm getting one. Man United badge on my arm.
Man United badge?
Yep.
Where were you born?
Luton.
I think we'll leave it there, thank you.
Yeah, it's all right, mate.
Right, how many tattoos have you got?
4.
And can you tell us what they are?
Japanese kanji, 2 snake and skull, 1 very old one which was a knife through the skin, very old.
A knife through the skin, yep.
And a heart with a knife through it. Briefly.
I mean, Ian in the studio has got some pretty strong views about tattoos. He thinks they're absolutely disgusting. What would you say to that?
Rubbish. It's individuality. It's just down to that person, isn't it, really?
But what's individual about a knife going through your skin?
That's youth. That's youth. I'm sorry, that is a bit youth. You can get them... I might be getting changed, actually, covered over in more modern design.
And you talk about these Chinese tattoos. Born and bred in Bedfordshire, I presume?
Afraid so, yeah.
So where's the Chinese connection?
I done a lot of martial arts years ago, so it's not Chinese, it's Japanese really, but yeah. So it was kind of 20 years of my life, so that really means more to me than anything else, really.
Right, Tara, you're 17. You're getting a tattoo very soon, when you're 18 years old. Tell us what tattoo you're going to be getting.
It's a wolf sport.
A what?
A wolf sport. It's a motorbike and body gear. It's like a gear for motorbiking.
So you're counting down the days until you're 18 then?
Yeah. 2 months, mate.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. She's going to get a motorbike.
Yep.
She sounds like an intelligent, rational, beautiful young woman.
Yeah.
Why would she do something to... God's gift. The body is God's gift.
Yeah. No, Ian, I totally agree. You know, when it comes to tattoos, obviously everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But, you know, my personal opinion, just my personal opinion when it comes to tattoos, I think, you know, if somebody is incredibly close in your life and they pass on, you have their name written somewhere on your body, I think that's actually quite nice. But to have,
what?
You know... Yeah, no, I think that's okay.
I wasn't listening. I was reading the paper. You What did you say?
If somebody in your life is very, very close to you, and for whatever... Now, hang on. For whatever reason, if they pass on and you want to have their name on your body somewhere or something which resembles that person, nothing wrong with that, I don't think. But it's when you've got these Chinese tattoos, like that man was saying there.
Yeah, Chinese tattoos coming over here, stealing our English tattoo places on people's wrists.
You know, things like that. I just think it's bizarre. People talk about being individual, but what is individual? A bit like that man there of having a knife going through your skin. There's nothing individual about that at all.
Disgusting. The thing I don't get, if someone's passed on, I wouldn't do it, but okay, fine, right.
Yep.
Is when people, that person there, when people have their children's names tattooed.
What's wrong with that? It's the same sort of thing, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's stupid. Well, is that in case you forget their names? Oh, so there's Steve and there's Cliff and what's the third one called? Hang on, let me just have a look at my arm. Oh, it's Barry.
It's Barry.
Lovely.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I love my children so much that I wouldn't write their names on my skin in ink that was permanent. It's a ridiculous thing to do.
Some people, the way they love their children, they want to represent that in different ways.
Represent it by telling them every day you love them, by embracing them, by reading stories to them if you can read, by tucking them in at night, by singing them songs, by taking them out to pick conkers, by going and kicking leaves, by going and jumping in puddles, we call it puddling in our house, by doing all of those things, not by getting some goth to write their names badly on your arm in ink.
How many of your listeners, do you reckon, have got their children's names tattooed somewhere on their body?
None have, because my listeners...
quite a few.
No, my listeners are decent, clean, sensible folk. They wouldn't do it.
You see, I don't like tattoos, but when I have children, you know what, I'm going to probably shock you here, but I might be tempted to get their names tattooed somewhere on my body, because my children will be, you know, the most precious thing to me in the world.
Well, why don't you get your name tattooed on their body? You see?
I'll wait until they're 18, clearly, yes.
Yes, OK, thank you much. Justin Daly, he's wrong. He's wrong on so many things. Last couple of weeks, I need to have... Can we, Kath, sorry, can you just send a link? Can you put a meeting with Justin in my diary?
Yeah.
11 o'clock tomorrow. We just need...
We could get him tattooed, couldn't we? If found, please return to...
Heart FM. No, sort out a meeting with him. He's been wrong on quite a few things this week, and I think he's getting a little bit gobby.
Really?
So, yes, sort that. I'll have a word with him.
OK.
I'll have a word. Thanks very much, indeed. None of my listeners, none of you will have your names of your children tattooed on your body, will you? Of course you won't. You're far too sensible for something like that. I do think it's awful. I love my kids, so I do things with them. I do things for them. Do not put their names on my shoulder. 08459 455 555. Yes, in Sanskrit. Or in Cantonese. 08459 455 555. You can go to facebook.com/BBC3CR.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Lots to talk about this morning. The thing that's really got to your goat, tattoos. Tattoos. David Dimbleby has had a tattoo done of a scorpion on his shoulder. Horrific for two reasons. Firstly, he's an old man with a tattoo of a scorpion on his shoulder. Secondly, we get to see his hairy shoulder in a lot of the newspapers today. There's never an excuse for tattoos. Does anybody think David Dimbleby having a tattoo is a good idea? Anyone? No. 08459 455 555. Mark's in Milton Keynes. Morning, Mark.
Good morning.
Disgusting things, aren't they?
I don't think so, no.
Sorry?
No, they're not.
Go on.
Don't be a wimp, Ian.
Sorry?
Go and get a tattoo, something important to you, something artistic. But I think you have to draw the line at artistic, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but not chavvy, to be honest. There is tattoo snobbery. It does exist.
Okay, so what's the line? What's artistic? What's chavvy?
I think it's subjective, but getting Man United or getting the McDonald's logo or Chinese writing on you or anything like that, or I love Mum, bit chavvy.
Okay, what have you got that's artistic then?
Well, it's important to me. I've got a picture of a wolf, a small wolf, on my back. Don't start it.
Why is a wolf important and not common?
Well, I went through...
You were brought up by wolves?
I was, yeah, no, wolf pack in the Jungle Book. I went through an serious illness, and after multiple operations, I decided to get a wolf. That was important to me to help me get through it and cope with some of the problems I had.
Am I allowed to ask what was wrong?
Oh, yeah, I just had a problem with my spine that developed over a few years, and I had to have major surgery up in a wheelchair for a short period. But are
you fine now?
I am fine now. I have some other tattoos, and I got them when I was younger. I've got a star, a sun.
You sound like such a sensible gentleman. Why is a wolf symbolic of your struggle to get your back rectified?
Because I went through a journey, like a lone wolf.
So do buses.
Cringe.
So does the National Express.
Yeah, but I'm not going to get Aviva on my back or National Express on my back, am I really? Come on, be
And also, you think if... with the greatest of respect, if your back was as bad as it was and you'd had that much work done on it, why would you want to get something else done on it?
Bottom of my back, tattoo on my top shoulder.
Okay.
But
right.
you strike me as one of those sort of slightly scared and wimpy people. That you wouldn't try and crack on and get something done that's important.
No. You confused fear with sensibilityness.
I don't know. You strike me as one of those chaps in the back of the classroom that would say something cocky and someone would turn around and say, "What'd you say?" And you're like, "Oh, nothing."
No, in fairness, I would stand up and say it again, but louder.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, yes. I got suspended 4 times from school. Can you imagine that?
What was that for? The wrong haircut or something?
No, not for the wrong haircut. One, at least one was for fighting. Sorry?
Iain, I don't believe that for a split second.
Well, it's true. Asif Iqbal, I say fighting, Asif Iqbal had me in a headlock and was beating the whatever out of me, and I got suspended for it! Can you believe that?
You have nothing important in your life that you'd like to represent artistically on your body.
No, I have nothing...
Rite of passage, regardless of age, that you think is important to me. I'm going to take that with me, have it embedded into my flesh, and carry that with me through life.
I have nothing important enough in my life that I would like to demean by getting someone I don't know drawing it on my arm or my back. No.
But that's an assumption you're making. I've built up relationships with tattoo. I never walked in with a tattoo artist and said, "Oh, I'll have that square with a couple of squiggly bits on it." I built up relationships with them. I learn about what they're into and where their background is.
I have no interest in a tattooist background or what they're into. Why would I?
It's quite important because you don't want Joe Bloggs, who's a trainee, just whacking something on you, do you?
But it's not important because I'm not going to get it done. And it's not out of fear. It's out of the fact that I've got some brains and I realise that my body is the only body I've got. And if I want to remain an individual, then I won't get it marked by some idiot.
Everyone has a body, Iain. Everyone has a body.
Well, not everyone,
by making your body individual, you're having something impressive.
But you're not making it individual because so many people have got tattoos now. You're an individual if you don't have tattoos.
I think you are right. There's a growing culture of tattoos, and it's a bit disjointed and not really connected to much. But a lot of people do get tattoos that are important to them, that have some significant meaning to what they believe in and what their lives are about.
I find significance in my children, in my relationships, in my work, in trying to attain some level of spirituality.
There you go. I think you've just hit the nail on the head.
Exactly.
I think you should go out and get 3 Counties Radio on your back.
Yeah, that is literally never going to happen. But I think we can contractually get Paul Scoyne's political reporter to get it done. I was looking at his contract last night, don't ask why, and I think there's a loophole that means we can defile his body like that. Tony's in Harlow. Good morning, Tony.
Morning, Iain.
These tattoos, disgusting, aren't they?
Yeah, don't like. My brother paid a fortune to have all these taken off that he had done as a teenager.
When you get old and saggy and your bits start to droop, you look ridiculous.
And you're not going out with that girl's name anymore.
No, awful, awful. What can I do for you, Tony?
Yeah, talking about doctors, I know it's getting off the subject slightly, but I was amazed. I went to the doctors a few months ago.
Just for those who don't know, we were just to fill people in, we were talking about the doctor's surgery that's opening on Monday, that's got no furniture whatsoever. They could face a bill of up to £120,000. What would you like to contribute to this?
Well, I went to the doctors recently with a verruca on my foot, expecting to get it freeze-dried and cut off. And I was amazed to be told they don't do that anymore. You have to put duct tape on the bottom of your foot.
Hang on a second. And what's this got to do with furniture?
I don't know, but...
So you went to the...
It's still the doctors, though, isn't it?
Well, very, very tenuously, that's connected to the poor people next week that will have to stand. OK, so you went with the verruca, and he said you had to do what?
Yeah, they don't freeze-dry them and cut them anymore. You have to put duct tape on the bottom of your foot, put it on first thing in the morning, walk around all day with it on, and at the end of the day, before you go to bed, just rip it off, and eventually it will pull the whatever it is.
Listen, I'm not a doctor. As you may have noticed, I got kicked out of medical school for getting beaten up by Asif Iqbal. But I do know that is complete and utter nonsense. That won't work.
That's what I had to do in the end to get rid of it.
Did it work?
I couldn't even get... Yeah, I couldn't even get it on prescription, though. I had to go and buy my own duct tape.
I've had verrucas. I would never go to the doctor with the verrucas. I would go to a chiropodist, and I went to see a lovely lady called Marcella. I remember her name because it's a Beach Boys song. And I would go and see Marcella every now and then, and she froze it off. It is the most... It's literally There is nothing more painful. You girls think you've got it tough passing twins, downstairs. Nothing compared to having a verruca frozen off of your foot. And the thing is, it doesn't work the first time. You have to go back 6-7 times, and each time it's more painful because they're removing layers of flesh. You did well with the duct tape.
But you can't even get it on prescription. I know it's short of money, but that's ridiculous. Yeah. Mind you, having said that, my foot was really warm. I had no cold feet.
Oh, there you go. That would be that. Tony, thanks very much for joining us on the discussion about the lack of furniture in a doctor's surgery.
My husband's got a verruca.
Oh.
And he said he couldn't go swimming. And I said, what about a verruca sock?
Yeah.
They don't do them for adults.
They do.
No, they don't.
He's lying. Right.
They don't. Those little white ones with the ribbed bottoms.
They do those for adults. Of course they do. When I
you never see them.
Verruca sock adult. There we go. Look, I might get you this instead. There you go. Look, loads. Go to a well-known internet dealer that's named after a river in the Amazon jungle, and you will be able to get loads there.
He doesn't
want to take the kids swimming. That's all it is. Oh, I can't go, Kath. I can't go, Kath. I've got a verruca.
I'm not going to Janet Street Porter.
I can't go, Kath. I've got a verruca. You can't get it for adults. I've looked online, girl. I've looked online. Where's my tea?
That is an uncanny impression.
I've had verrucas. They are the worst things. They're so painful. And they're awful. Oh, disgusting things. 0845. I'm not quite sure how Tony got to that, though. Considering the medical story we're talking about is one to do with a surgery in Wolverton that's going to open next week without any chairs. But we got there in the end. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Shall we have a quick look at some of the front pages? Yes, let's do that, shall we? There's lots of it. The aftermath of the Typhoon Haiyan. Oh my goodness! Look at this! Look at this incredible picture. Okay, I didn't know what this was to start with. So it's a village. Tacloban, once a bustling Philippine city, okay? Completely decimated. You can see a few buildings. The buildings that are left, their roofs have been ripped off. Most of the buildings are crushed. In the middle of all of this is a huge ship. It's an amazing picture. It shows you just how powerful this was. A ship dumped by the winds of Typhoon Haiyan into the streets of Tacloban, once a bustling Philippine city. Have you seen this picture of a ship in the middle of a town? We are powerless. We are powerless over nature, aren't we? Chris has called in. Morning, Chris.
Good morning, Ian. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. What can I do for you?
Secondly, to what you just, your other guy just called in about, go on to well-known search engine online.
Yes.
Type in verruca and duct tape.
Yeah.
Look at the second one down.
Hang on a second. All right, so the thing is, if I do this too often, it makes my eyes go all googly. Hang on a minute. So let me just do this. What am I typing in? Verruca and duct tape?
Yes, second line down. Look out for me, NHS website.
Okay, hang on a minute. Warts and verrucas? No, what? Where? What one?
It should be second down. Should be NHS choices on the NHS website.
Oh yes.
It actually lists duct tape for verrucas as an option.
No, I do not believe that. It does duct tape. It's the third one down. It's above chemical treatments. But have you had this done?
No, I haven't. It's just I had to Google it after your last call.
I cannot believe, Chris, as someone who has suffered from verrucas for many, many years, I cannot believe that works. Because it goes really deep into your foot. Awful. Chris, well, thank you for that. What a horrific image. Catherine, I can't believe... Get a bit of... get some sellotape or a Pritt and see if you can get rid of your fella's verrucas with that.
I'll try, and for a toothache, you get a bit of a string and a door handle.
Tie around a doorknob and slam the door, of course you do. 08459 455 555. Well. The things we're learning here on BBC Three Counties Radio this morning. We're trying to have a sensible discussion about how a doctor's surgery will be opening in Wolverton. We thought it was Friday. It looks like it's going to be Monday. And they are £120,000 short of cash to pay for their furniture. Very serious, important local issue. Local and indeed vocal, the big tour. Why are we getting so many calls about verrucas? Luann's in Flitwick. Morning, Luann.
Because it makes us giggle in the morning.
Oh, for goodness sakes. What do you want to say about verrucas?
I was going to give you the logistics behind duct tape.
Go on, then.
Well, there was a thing on telly a few weeks ago that did a scientific research on how this worked, and apparently it stops the air getting to it, which actually makes it die. So when you keep taking it off, it takes the dead skin away. And then you put it back on again, it keeps the air and the moisture away from it and makes it die.
My feet are quite sweaty. Duct tape isn't going to stick. It isn't going to stick. And also, have you ever had a verruca?
Years and years and years.
Did you have it frozen off?
No, I didn't. It went on its own after my mum sat there and did horrible things to my feet.
Oh yeah, the pair of tweezers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When I was at college, I had about 8 or 9 on the. Whoa, hey, Catherine, steady on. Whoa. 8 or 9 on the heel of my left foot. Right?
Mine were always on my toes.
Oh really?
Yeah.
And it was so painful, and I would go and get it done at this shopperist, and then my friend lived nearby, and I'd go to my friend's in tears. It was 5 minutes away. It would take me 25 minutes to hobble there. I'd go there in tears and have a cheeky little drink to calm the pain.
Aww.
And then I ran out of money, and the shopperist was so kind. He said, "Oh look, just keep coming. I'll do it for free." Wasn't that nice of him?
I don't know how to answer that one.
There is no answer to it, Luann. You wanted to talk about verrucas. That's you own the BBC. Remember that, guys. Remember, you own it. You can come on and talk about anything you want. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. I do there are a few things that actually disgust me, and verrucas disgust me. I find them repulsive, and it makes me uncomfortable talking about them. Oh, the disgusting things. Oh, wait, but no doubt you'll want to carry on talking about them then. Walnut heel, they used to call me. Now, it's November. Justin's in Luton. He's standing on Vauxhall Way. It can only mean one thing, Justin. The smell of cat pee is back.
It is, Ian. It's back indeed.
Happened last year and the year before, and while people who smelt it reckon Vauxhall Motors dealt it, the car plant Environmental Health are still scratching their heads. Well, listen, Justin, we'll come to you in a second to find out what's going on. You're with the Environment Agency, I think. Yes. But earlier on, Justin spoke to Pete Layton from Pink Pig Parking.
And in the summer months, we literally had to shut all the windows and doors, etc. Our lady staff just couldn't tolerate it. It became a sickly smell in the end. It's just typical of cat's pee when they've not been cleaned up on if you've got cats, you pee on the paper. It's that smell. It's exactly that smell.
Is it worse in November, though, because the conditions change? That's what we're hearing.
This is our 2nd November. The winds are blowing a little bit more swirly all around us. But yes, I mean, we stood here this morning, you and I, and we both smelt it, distinctly smelt it. So I don't know. I would imagine it does get a lot stronger because the air's fresher.
I mean, some people may be laughing at the story, saying, "Oh, cat wee," but it's no laughing matter to you, is it?
No, it's not really. No. It's certainly not pleasant for our customers either that come in and they want to park their car and get off up to the airport. But no, it certainly annoyed us during the last 10 months since we've been trading here.
You just want something done about it and quickly, don't you? Really?
Yeah. I mean, if it's down to the council, the environment, then, pull your finger out and get it sorted.
Well, don't pull your finger out. Maybe that could be the problem. Justin, who are you with?
I've got Claire Richards with me, who's
Brilliant.
From the Environment Agency. Claire, thanks for your time. You're live across Beds, Herts and Bucks. You know what the problem is. Explain to our listeners what the problem is.
The problem is coming from where they spray paint the vans. Not all the paint hits the vans. Some of the paint falls underneath, and it falls into this river of paint. And the river of paint is where the smell's coming from. We think it's probably bacteria that builds up in the system and causes it to become almost stagnant-like, and it comes out of the big square chimneys above the paint shop.
Well, that's fantastic. You know what the answer is. So what's going to be happening next? Because you've issued 2 notices against Vauxhall, and people are still complaining about the smell. How can this be solved here for the locals?
Well, we served 2 notices on them, and the notice requires them to use the best technology that's available in Europe to keep the smell to a minimum. I think they have made massive improvements on site. They used to clean out this river of paint maybe once every 6 months, once a year. I've got them cleaning it out once a week. And that has, I think, it's improved things. We're not getting that many complaints anymore.
In saying that, though, you've heard the clip from Pete earlier on, who said in the summertime in particular that had to close all the windows, his staff simply couldn't handle it. In theory, if this smell doesn't go away, and according to the people that I'm talking to, it's not going away. In theory, could you close this plant down?
Only if they were in breach of their permit, and their permit says if they're using the best available technology to control things, they're not in breach of their permit that they have from us. In theory, if they were in breach of their permit, then it would be the very, very last resort.
So let's get this absolutely clear. At this moment in time, they're not in breach of their permit, so this smell is never going to go away, is it?
Well, we're not saying they're not in breach of their permit. We're having to work with them to make sure, because technology is constantly moving on. We're discovering new things about the way the plant's working. If we discover something else that they should be doing, we'll serve another notice on them to make them do the next step.
OK, just lastly, very briefly on this, if we come back here next November and we're hearing again that every November it's particularly bad, do you think this smell is going to go once and for all? If we come back here next November, you're working with them, is it going to go away, yes or no?
I'm really hopeful that we will find it and solve it. Yeah, I am hopeful that we will. I don't know for sure.
Hopeful's encouraging. There you go, Claire Richards joining us live from the Environment Agency. Iain.
Justin, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Claire. Well, one of the residents who's had to live with the stink is Luton's Lib Dem leader, David Franks. David, is it really as bad as we've been told?
Yes. Yes, the residents' complaints are not exaggerated, Iain. It really is absolutely disgusting. And it's not only November. It does... Where the problem falls does obviously depend on the direction of the winds. But it is absolutely disgusting, and it gets into people's houses in Vauxhall Park area. One of the questions that I keep asking, and nobody seems to want to answer, is what exactly are the chemicals that are being released, and what are the health implications?
Have you spoken to Vauxhall about this?
I have spoken to Vauxhall a very long time ago, and I've also spoken to Claire Richards, who you've just had on from the Environment Agency.
Yeah.
They keep saying they're working on it, but nobody will actually take that step of dealing with the problem and getting rid of it.
If you spoke to them a long time ago, maybe today is the day to fire off another couple of emails and make a couple of phone calls, David.
Well, I sent them an email yesterday.
Okay,
Iain.
Excellent. Good work. Residents feel they're being ignored.
They do. Of course they do, and they tell me about the chest congestion, the headaches. What are the health implications of this? So what are these people breathing in?
Realistically, David, is there anything that can be done if it's the smell of Vauxhall and if that's the product that they work with? They can't really do anything, can they?
Well, yes, of course they can.
What can they do?
Well, Vauxhall have been there for the best part of 100 years. We haven't had this smell for 100 years. They must be doing something different that they weren't doing before.
David, I appreciate your time this morning. That's Luton's Lib Dem leader, David Franks. If you've experienced the stench, giving people headaches, chest congestion, I like to call it, 08459 455 555. How has it affected you? You can also go to facebook.com/BBC3CR or send me a text, 81333, start your text 3CR. No one has convincingly given me a good argument for having tattoos. We had the fellow who'd had loads of spinal injuries, so he had a wolf tattooed on his shoulder. I personally, I don't see the connection. There's never a good reason for getting a tattoo. They always look cheap, don't they? You wouldn't... Listen, lads, if you met a girl who had tattoos all over her arms and her hands, you wouldn't want to take her back to meet Mum, would you? Would you? Indeed, I'm just reading online, there is a big debate today on the bedroom tax. Guess who's not turning up for it? Yeah, Iain Duncan Smith, the fellow who brought it in. I can't make it then, guys. Can't make it. 08459 455 555. A doctor's surgery without any furniture. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And suddenly it's 8 Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Here until 9 o'clock. Then JVS takes over. He's got a good one today. I've just seen what he's talking about. It's always a good one. But lots coming up on this show, including furniture-based friction in Wolverton, council conservatory controversy in Welwyn, and we seem to be talking about tattoos and verrucas and whatever you fancy. It was thoroughly unpleasant. But, call BBC. You buy that line. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. You can send me a text, 81333. Start your text 3CR. Or give me a phone call, 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Some texts on tattoos. Tattoos are so cliched these days. People get them because they feel they have to, says Phil the Fruit. Tony says, I'm going on a journey this morning to work. I'm going to get a train to work. Then I'm going to get a tattoo of Network Rail down my spine just so I can recount my journey. Good for you. We had a caller earlier on who'd been on a journey, so he had a tattoo done. His journey was, his back was pretty badly done and he had loads of operations. So what did he have tattooed? He had a wolf tattooed on his shoulder. Makes sense, doesn't it? No. Then we got on to verrucas. Not because of tattoos, but because we're talking about doctor's surgeries. I know. Try and follow the logic. Duct tape works. It's scientifically proven, says Dawn. Oh, if someone tells me that on a text, then it must be true. It'll be heart surgery on the kitchen table with a knife and fork soon, says Jackie. And then this is from Ed. I feel we have to pass this on to the authorities. This text from Ed. This really is above and beyond. Iain, when I was about 8, 9 or 10, I've tried to blank it out due to the trauma. I'm going to say something horrible now. My mum shaved off my verruca with a razor blade. Oh, no! Oh! Seriously, I think you could sue your mother retrospectively if she's still with us, Ed. I do think there is probably a court case in that. On the subject of tattoos, Steve's in Colton. Morning, Steve.
Good morning, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, Steve. And what would you like to say?
Before we get on to the tattoos, I just wanted to know, where did you learn your dance move? Did you go to the Mr. Bean School of Dance or whatever?
For those who wonder what Stephen's talking about, we were, Kelly Betts, Catherine Boyle and myself were filmed secretly, I don't know who did it, dancing earlier on in the show to Electric Avenue by Mr. Edward Grant. That somehow leaked onto the internet at BBC 3CR. I am busting some pretty good robotics. I am doing the robotics. I did the noises as well.
Oh, didn't get noises.
Anyway, Stephen, tattoos. They're rubbish, aren't they?
Tattoos. I don't mind the odd occasional, little one, but right. I can't see why people get tattoos in places that they're never going to show them.
Well, David Dimbleby's got one of a scorpion on his right hairy shoulder.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him.
Not good for him.
That's what he wants. Yes.
He's a sensible, respected member of the British community, and he's got a tattoo. I think it's disgusting.
Well, I don't know.
How many tats have you got, Stephen?
I've got none.
Why?
I want one.
Exactly, you don't want because you're sensible.
Yeah, but I don't mind the odd occasional tattoo. What I do not like is these pretty young girls you see, and they got a face full of metal. I just don't see the point of that.
You don't like the face full of metal?
I don't. Why do you get bits of metal and stick them through your skin? Sticking them out your lip, out your cheek?
Tash is in Welwyn Garden City. Tash, have you got any facial piercings? Tash?
We've upset her.
You upset her. She's disappeared. We've lost Tash. Stephen, thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555. We'll see if we can get Tash back a little bit later on in the show. Now, a funding mix-up means that doctors at a new health centre set to open in Wolverton on Monday are appealing for donations of anybody? Chairs. The practice say they were promised £120,000 for the furniture by the Primary Care Trust. Trouble is, the PCT no longer exists, and the body that's replaced it, the CCG, won't honour the agreement. Well, there'll be a crisis meeting between NHS bosses and the practice managers this afternoon. Joined now by Mark Lancaster, who's the MP for Milton Keynes North. Mark, it's a pretty ridiculous situation. Whose fault is it?
Well, that's a very good question. There seems to be a breakdown in communication here. I mean, it's a great shame because we really should be celebrating this amazing new facility which has been funded in Wolverton there. The old healthcare centre really was in a pretty poor shape. So, an awful lot of work has gone into delivering this fantastic new building. And then just when we're about to open, we have this sort of disagreement over what is literally just the icing on the cake, the furniture inside. But the building itself is fantastic. The facility's going to be fantastic.
There's just nowhere to sit down or write anything.
Well, at the moment, that's right. I mean, it has been a sort of complex issue, and, I've been sort of involved for some time now, and I think we're nearing a resolution. There does seem to be, on the one side, as a taxpayer, you would appreciate that the last thing you want is £120,000 simply being spent without the proper process and checks and balances. But equally, it's clear that having read much of the email correspondence, it does appear as if the health centre were acting in good faith, but we can't actually nail down exactly which meeting it was agreed at. So we're getting there slowly.
So is it certain then that the PCT had agreed to fund the furniture?
Well, certainly the health centre are under that impression. Of that, there is no doubt. Equally, from NHS England's point of view, I think it's only right that we can demonstrate that agreement was made.
So there's no email or letter from the PCT to the head of this practice saying, yes, we agree to give you £120,000 for furniture. Because if that doesn't exist, that's pretty stupid, isn't it?
Well, it's not a simple sentence in that sense, but certainly when you read the email exchange, it's pretty clear that there was an impression given that would be the case, and that's really what we're coming down to. Now, we have moved already to the point where the worst case scenario is that NHS England have agreed to lend the health centre the money over a long period of time at a very low interest rate in order that the money can be available now to purchase this furniture. But I do think hopefully this meeting this afternoon, which I'll be sending a representative to, unfortunately I'm down in Westminster at the moment, we should be able to get to the bottom of this issue. It's just frustrating because we've got this fantastic new centre and here we are arguing about the bits of furniture to go in it.
Well, it is frustrating, and it would be embarrassing, if people turn... It's Monday it opens, isn't it?
Yes,
it's Monday.
Right.
It would be embarrassing if people turn up and there aren't any chairs, or there are some, small school chairs from the local primary school that they've got left over, and some plastic chairs from a village hall. It would be nice to open it with all the pomp and ceremony and fanfare of it, everything being wonderful and clean and new.
Well, absolutely right. I mean, the existing health centre does have chairs, of course, and the worst-case scenario is that they can be moved across, but to be fair, they are pretty old and pretty knackered, and it's a shame, really, to have this fantastic new centre, and then sort of the old sort of not really up to standard chairs in there. But listen, I am confident. I mean, a lot of people are working on this. To be fair to NHS England, I think there is a real will there to try and sort this out, as we've already seen by the offer that's been made. So,
do you think that Mark? Sorry to interrupt. Do you think they might go a step further and actually just give the money without it being a loan?
Well, I think all that will sort of be resolved this afternoon. I think much of it really depends on being able to demonstrate that agreement was made in good faith.
Mark, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And yes, wouldn't it be great if this could get sorted out? It's going to be an amazing place. Just they haven't got any seats. It's Mark Lancaster there, MP for Milton Keynes North.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
I've been told I have to stop that and go immediately to Justin Dealey. Justin, you've seen something you want to tell me about. What's going on?
Yes, Ian, you're talking about tattoos this morning.
Yes,
you
we
hate
are.
tattoos. David Dimbleby has got one at the age of 75. I have just spoken to a man. You'll hear this before 9.
Yes.
He has got a tattoo on his head of a gecko.
Oh, God.
Yes. So you'll hear that conversation before 9, but it's got me thinking, how many other weirdos... I mean, people have got tattoos on their head.
Yeah, Justin, sorry. I stopped a jingle and everything to come to you, and is that it?
That's it.
Basically, you're just flagging up.
Well, hang on a minute. You tell me.
Flagging up something you're going to be on in the show later on.
Well, no, I'm just flagging up the fact that's quite unusual. I just thought, how many of your listeners had tattoos on their head?
Is this new audio?
This is fresh. Yes.
Okay,
it's fresh.
we've had a text. We've had a text from Zoe. You used old bits of audio about tattoos. You used that before. That's cheating. You probably picked the thickest people you could to interview.
No, that's not true. That's not true. The audio that we used earlier on are those people that had a Manchester United tattoo, somebody who had...
Zoe says that's cheating.
No, it's not cheating. Those were people that we spoke to recently who had a love of tattoos. We asked them why they had a love of tattoos. Now we're asking people about David Dimbleby. You'll hear that before 9. But how many other people, Ian, have got tattoos on their head?
I was going to finish off the papers in this
Well, surely having a gecko on your head is more important than the papers.
Finished talking to Mark. We came to a positive, hopefully a positive conclusion about what's going to happen to the surgery in Wolverton. I had 3 minutes spare, was going to rattle through the rest of the papers, and I was told, no, you have to go to Justin.
Well, it was just to flag something up. I thought you quite enjoyed that. When have you ever seen a gecko on somebody's head?
What are you doing tomorrow at 11 o'clock?
11 o'clock tomorrow. Why? What are you doing at 11 o'clock tomorrow?
I've booked the meeting room. I'd like to call a meeting with you.
What about?
Let's not discuss it on air.
No, come on, let's do it. Come on.
Just,
Come on.
Your attitude.
About what?
That was it there. That was it there.
Ian, everything you ask me to do, I do for you, and I do it with a smile upon my face. What more do you want?
Not everything.
Go and get Solaria in then.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties
Morning.
Radio.
It's one of those mornings, I'm afraid. 08459 455 555. It's 8:15. I've had a brilliant email about tattoos from someone called Ian. Hello, Ian. There was a guy at my local Sainsbury's on the meat counter that had cheap tattoos all down his arm. I complained. They moved him to fruit and veg. Joined in the studio by Jonathan Vernon Smith. Morning, Jonathan.
Good morning.
You doing anything for children in need?
All kinds of bits and pieces, I'm sure.
Excellent.
Watch this space.
Me too. You're looking very nice. A nice scarf.
Thank you. Thanks.
And a tight jersey. Showing off your muscles.
It is a bit tight, actually, isn't it? I think that may be because it shrunk. I did wash it at the weekend.
You look quite buff, though.
Don't start getting all creepy again. You sometimes.
Well, how is that creepy?
You do get a bit creepy.
Catherine, how is that creepy? He does look. He's well defined.
He's very shapely.
I am a skinny, bony man with a pot belly. I am envious of people who have a little bit of definition in their lives. It's a compliment. Take it as such.
I've got quite a muffin top and a fat back.
Would you get a tattoo on your fat back?
Don't be stupid.
It's disgusting, isn't it? Disgusting.
I would no.
Dimbleby's really let the side down, I think.
Has he really got one?
Yeah, have you seen the picture of it? It's a scorpion.
I want to see the photo of this. I don't believe that a man of his...
That's a real one.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I wonder if he's got a new TV show coming out.
Oh, he's gone right down in my estimation.
Hasn't he? Isn't it interesting? Because I do like Dimbleby. I like all the Dimblebys.
Yeah.
And I saw that, and I just thought, oh, that's a real waste.
It just seems like a really, really silly thing. What a silly, silly thing to do.
Yeah.
What a silly thing to do. Take that back. I'm not watching Question Time anymore.
Really upset.
What a silly, silly thing.
What's in your show today, Jonathan?
Coming up on this morning's Big Phone-In, should we pay women in beds, hearts and bucks to breastfeed their babies? New mothers are to be offered up to £200 in shopping vouchers to encourage them to breastfeed their babies. The pilot scheme is being targeted at deprived areas of the country and funded by the government and medical research companies. And if it proves successful, a nationwide pilot could be rolled out next year. Currently, 55% of babies are breastfed in this country. Only 55%. It's quite low, really, when you think about it, isn't it? But the doctor behind this new project has told the BBC she hopes paying people to breastfeed could create a culture where breastfeeding is seen as the norm. Well, from 9 this morning, I want your views on this. Should we pay women here in beds, hearts and bucks to breastfeed their babies? Will it have a positive effect? Will it encourage women to breastfeed? Are there too many women who just don't try hard enough at the moment to breastfeed? I can't quite believe that. I mean, the friends that I've got that haven't breastfed, it's been a really emotional thing to not breastfeed. You know, they found it absolutely dreadful. I've had friends in floods of tears because they're just not getting on with it, and they've eventually had to give up.
My wife couldn't breastfeed our first, and she was devastated. She felt less than because of it, and she put so much... She spent hours and hours at various breastfeeding experts' houses while they manhandled her. We had our son's tongue was cut a little bit to try and make it easier, and she was having none of it. And yet people, the breastfeeding fascists who do exist, will still say she should have tried harder. She should have tried harder.
Well, I just wonder, with this new £200, is this sending out the message that actually, if you don't breastfeed, it's probably because you can't be bothered? And actually, you know, have £200, that will make the difference. You'll suddenly now say, I'm not sure that it's the case. From 9 this morning, I want your views and your experiences. Should we pay women in beds, hearts and bucks to breastfeed their babies £200? Does that sound sensible or ridiculous to you?
Isn't the £200 in pound stretcher vouchers?
Shopping vouchers is the information I have.
I read it in one of the stories that said pound stretcher, but it may be more generic than that.
I think it would be more generic.
Okay, right.
Well, I guess you could buy £200 worth of items in pound stretcher.
200 items, that would be.
200.
Yes. Wonderful. Imagine those wagon wheels.
But I just don't know whether it's going to make any difference, is it?
No, I don't think
Are there really women out there who say, I'm not going to breastfeed, but if you paid me £200, I would?
No, I don't think so. How are they going to prove it? How do they prove that that someone has to come and watch you and monitor it, or you have to log in? How does that... It won't work. It's a flawed system. It won't work. And I think it puts unfair pressure on women who are already feeling pressured and bullied.
But it's going to be happening, and it's being backed by the World Health Organisation. The government is behind this as well. I mean, this is big stuff.
Yeah, the government never get anything wrong, do they?
Well, from 9, I want your views. Should we pay women in beds, hearts and bucks to breastfeed their babies?
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
We're talking about tattoos and how awful they are. Emma's in Coventry calling to back me up, aren't you, Emma?
No, I'm not.
Sorry?
I'm not.
Oh. Don't cry.
I've not actually spoke to you before.
Nice to speak to you, Emma.
Thank you. I've been listening, and I've heard some people say weirdo.
Yeah.
I've heard your comments as well.
Disgusting.
Disgusting.
Shameful, shocking, outrageous, awful.
Yeah. Well, I know quite a lot of people that have tattoos.
Sorry about
that. And they're lovely people, and it's what's inside them that counts, not what you see.
It's ink.
Iain, really and truthfully, I think it's discrimination, because if somebody has got something that they don't like, then why should you call them names? They want tattoos.
Yes.
Let them have tattoos.
But it's not them that has to look at them. It's me. As I'm walking down the street, I see these horrible people with the things called sleeves. It was when they have tattoos all down their arms, or tattoos of geckos on their heads, or when they wear shorts and they've... I saw a man who had a winky tattooed on his leg. Why would you do that?
Well, some people just, some people just want to be different to other people. But, I suffer from mental health issues, and I actually get the same treatment when people actually think that I'm a weirdo,
Emma,
because I go to hospital.
Emma, I'm not. Listen, I appreciate what you're saying. I'm going to let you withdraw that card and not play that one, because I don't think you can compare me saying people who have tattoos are disgusting as the same discrimination as people with mental health issues have.
Yeah, but it's everything. Everybody treats everybody and like, oh, he's a weirdo, or he's not nice.
What's tattoos got to do with mental health, Emma? With the greatest of respect.
Because people always have opinions on other people.
Yes, they do. That's life.
And why can't people just get on with their own lives?
Because it doesn't work like that.
Why?
It does, well, I don't know why. I can't. We haven't got time in the last 35 minutes of the show to discuss the human psyche and what makes us tick, but it doesn't work like that. And if you face discrimination because of your mental health issues, then you have my greatest sympathy, and I think that's terrible. But I have the right to say that people who have tattoos of swallows and children's name on their arms are disgusting.
Yeah, but have you ever met them? Have you ever talked to them?
I've never met anybody who's had a tattoo, Emma. No, never. But I refuse to speak to them.
And why?
Because they wouldn't be able to give me a coherent argument.
But that's your opinion.
No, I would never talk to them.
No, because that's your opinion, because, you've already got it in your head, I'm not going to like that person. I've got fantastic friends that have got tattoos, and I don't look for the person that's what you see from the, I look for the person inside them.
Emma, thank you very much indeed. A point made, definitely. 08459 455 555. I don't think we can compare me saying that people with tattoos are idiots, compare that to the prejudice that some people with mental health issues have. Now, residents in Welwyn Garden City say they'll fight their council over plans to build a £4 million extension. Welwyn Hatfield Borough Council, which is based in a conservation area, wants to erect a glass structure to make their offices bigger, but residents say it's not in keeping with the area and there should be a full public consultation. Well, earlier on we spoke to Sean O'Reilly, chairman of the Welwyn Garden City Society. Here's what he had to say.
That we have now been approached by a number of residents, including architects, who have come out with a proposal which would meet the council's own legal planning rules and possibly meet their own objectives.
So that's Sean O'Reilly who's got a proposal. I'm joined now by John Dean, leader of the Welwyn Hatfield Borough Council. Morning, John. Would you be prepared to look at Sean's proposal?
No, we've got our own plan, Ian, and it's been out for consultation now for over a month.
You wouldn't be prepared to even have a look at it? You wouldn't be prepared to even have a look at it? That seems a bit dismissive and dare I say it, a little bit arrogant.
To be quite honest, we have consulted with the Welwyn Garden City Society. We've altered our original plan to some of their suggestions, and we understood they were reasonably happy with what we'd come up with.
No, they're not. They're very unhappy with it.
Well, yes, I know, but that's... I'm afraid that's the Welwyn Garden City Society. I mean, they've put out a consultation document which, quite honestly, is just full of wild exaggeration.
You wouldn't be prepared to look at their plans, just as a matter of courtesy?
Well, of course, we'd look at their plan as a matter of courtesy,
so
but it's too late to change change our plan.
So if we put you in touch with Sean, you'll look at his plans. That's great.
We are in touch with Sean all the time, actually.
Okay, that's fantastic. It's not in keeping with the area, is it? You're not adhering to the rules that you enforce on the residents of Welwyn Garden City?
Well, we are, actually. I mean, that's one of the falsehoods of the Welwyn Garden City Society's statement. They've said that the building that we're putting our extension on is part of the estate management scheme. It's not.
But it's not
doesn't come into the estate management scheme.
Why does it not come into the estate management scheme that dictates that residents have to build extensions of a certain size and of a certain style and of the same colour brick? Why are you exempt from that?
It's because it's a public building and it just doesn't come into the area that is under the estate management.
Okay, excellent. We're getting somewhere, John. So you're exempt from that, which is great. But that means that you are agreeing that it doesn't fit in with the current design.
No. Well, I'm not agreeing with that at all. Actually,
so it does fit in with the current design.
Well, because our modified design does fit in as well as it can,
no, John, no. I'll stop you there. Okay. As well as it can. So it doesn't fit in, does it? And you know it doesn't fit in. And it would imply it's one rule for the residents, yet the council, we can do what we want with the council.
No, that's completely unfair. It's the part of the design is from necessity anyway, because we have to have, because of where the building is, where the structure is going to be built, it needs to have extra light, and that's why we've got a glass front.
Maybe, I don't know, you could buy a light?
Well, you know as well as I do that the use of natural light is the most important thing when you're dealing with staff.
No, it's not, John. It's not the most important thing when you're dealing with staff. It's good people management, and it's not wasting people's money. Why can't you buy some lights instead of building a huge structure made out of glass?
It's not. Actually, you've got it all wrong, Ian. It's not that the whole structure is built of glass. The front has a certain amount of glass.
What's the percentage of glass in this new structure?
It's only the front.
What's the percentage of the glass in this new structure?
Probably, we're only talking about the front end.
What's the percentage of glass in this new structure?
I suppose we're talking about, 20% maybe?
Okay, and what's the percentage of glass in the previous structure?
There wasn't a previous structure, Ian.
Okay.
This is a new extension.
And what's the percentage of glass in all the buildings surrounding that area?
I wouldn't know. I haven't measured.
No, you haven't, John, but you know. You could use your eyes, because you know that it's not in keeping with the style of the buildings around it. So it is one rule for the residents.
Have you ever
and
been
another
to the
rule
Palace of Westminster? One of the oldest structures.
What on earth has that got to do with it?
Well,
is that in Welwyn Garden City, is it, John?
They've used glass on the front of their structure as well.
Is that in Welwyn Garden City? Does that have to adhere to the rules that the residents of Welwyn Garden City have to? I don't think so.
I've already told you, Ian, that
you're exempt.
The building we're talking about...
You're the council.
The building we're talking about doesn't come under the estate management scheme.
Because you're the council?
it doesn't come under...
Because you're the
no,
council?
No, there are many buildings in Welwyn Garden City that don't come under the estate.
You can understand why residents who've had their extension plans scuppered would feel aggrieved, can't you?
No, I
Really?
I can't understand that. I mean,
really, John, there's a real... I don't want to be rude to you, because you sound like a fairly decent bloke, but there's a real sense of arrogance coming from the council on the subject of this. If you can't even empathise with people who've had to stick to strict building regulations in your area... It does seem a little bit arrogant, doesn't it?
But we do emphasise, and that's why we've gone out to consultation. You know, out of all the complaints we've actually had, or the remarks we've actually had, the majority come from the Welwyn Garden City Society. The Welwyn Garden City Society want to see Welwyn Garden City stay exactly as it is forever.
How much is this costing?
It's the whole structure is costing $4 million.
Wow.
But it is saving a lot more than that.
Good spend, John, when everyone's...
Sorry, you've got to let me finish, Ian. The building that we've got to vacate is costing us £215,000 a year.
OK, so that would be 4... So that's 4 years, 8 years. So that's about 17, 18 years you make your money back.
Oh, no, much quicker than that.
Well, it's £215,000 a year. And this is costing you £4 million. So, yeah, it's about 17, 18 years for you to make your money back.
No, you're not getting the whole picture, because the extension is also going to house a council chamber, which we are vacating from another building.
So how much does that cost a year, the council chamber?
No, it's not a question of that. It's the income we're going to gain from it.
OK, how much income are you going to gain per year?
We have the business plan tells us that we're likely to make about another £200,000 per year from that.
OK, so we're looking at 8 or 9 years to make it back. Good investment?
That's a good investment.
When in times of austerity, when people are cutting back, you think that 8 or 9 years is a good investment?
I think that's an extremely good investment. To bring £215,000 back into the council rather than having to rent another building, I think is an extremely good investment.
Over 9 years,
a good investment.
Over 9 years, you make the money back.
Most bankers would love to see that kind of return.
John, OK, but you don't have any sympathy for those people that are disappointed with your plans?
I do indeed, and that's why we've listened to them.
And not really done very much.
And altered our plans to try to placate, to try to fall in line with what they want.
OK.
We have done that.
John, thank you very much indeed. John Dean, leader of the Welwyn Hatfield Borough Council.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three
Tattoos, verrucas and all kinds of things in the last 30 minutes. Well, last 22 minutes of the show. I was late for that news. I do apologise. 08459 455 555. Let's rattle through some of these texts. Ian, can you give a shout... What? Just to let people know that Dunstable is now a 20 miles per hour zone, and people are still doing 30 miles an hour past the speed cameras because they haven't noticed the change. Hugs and kisses, Jamie. Colin in Luton, get over yourself, Lee. Tattoos are because the recipient wants them. I have 2. My partner doesn't like them but agrees it's art. It's not art. Colin, it's not art, for goodness sakes. Art is a painting, or a statue, or a sculpture, or something. Or even a messy bed. It's not drawings on your body. Mark the Wolf. Oh, God, get a life. If Ian gets a tattoo of 3CR, I'll donate money today. Let's raise funds for a charity. You can do it, mate. Man up. I don't like the implication that by not having a tattoo, you are less of a human being. Au contraire. The opposite is true. By not having a tattoo, you are more of a human being. You are more confident in your body image. You don't need to doctor it. Pat says, never mind about the lack of furniture in the doctor's surgery. What is duct tape? Andrea's in Aylesbury. Good morning, Andrea.
Good morning.
Good morning, Andrea. What can I do for you?
Oh, you make me laugh.
Thank you. We'll have none of that, though. Stop it. Stop it. It's silly.
Oh, I was 55 when I had my first tattoo.
Oh, Andrea, I used to like you calling up. Go on. What happened?
Well, according to one of my friends' daughter, who actually had a complete Harry mental over the whole thing, and she went, "What is it with all you women? You hit 50 and then you've got to go and have tattoos and piercings, and I don't like it." And it was a bit of, and it wasn't that at all. I just hadn't, because I was of the opinion, it's incredibly horrible, and people with tattoos aren't very nice and it's hideous. So I do appreciate where you are in your view, but suddenly I changed and I wanted one, and I just I'll go and have one done. And my friend said, but you're old and your skin will all get saggy and baggy. And
Your skin's already saggy and baggy now.
It is.
So now's the perfect age to do it if you're going to.
And so I've got 3 now.
Oh. What did you get done?
I've got a bracelet of stars on my right wrist.
Just buy a bracelet of stars.
No.
You can probably get them in
anywhere.
Anywhere, yes. Claire's Accessories probably
Especially at
sell them.
Christmas.
Yes, okay. Second one.
Second one is a Panamanian peace frog.
Oh. Where's that, on your bum?
No, on my. I don't see the point of having a tattoo if you can't see it.
Well, I don't know how flexible you are. Okay.
Well, exactly.
So where's your peace frog?
On my left wrist.
Okay.
And that's the Panamanian frogs are golden coloured, so he's gold with a peace sign.
Yeah, okay. What, he's doing the V sign?
The V, peace sign.
The V?
Yeah, peace sign.
Okay, all
Victory
right.
V.
That's so common.
No, there's a company called Peace Frogs, and I wear their T-shirts, and that's where he comes from. Anyway,
yes.
And my third one is quite a bit larger because it goes up my right arm, and it's bluebells with bubbles.
I'm literally speechless, Andrew. You sound so sensible and normal and delightful, and it turns out you're not.
I know, but you see, the thing is, underneath, I've always been a bit like this. But I'm going to say that in the I go to Cornwall every summer, where my family are, and there was a lot of exposed flesh, as you would gather.
Too much down there.
Beautiful, beautiful summer, and I have decided that enough is enough, that really there are a lot of people who are covered and it's about time they stopped, and it doesn't look nice. But also they are so young. Most of these people were under 30, majority under 25, and I think, whoa, girls with their legs done, teddy bears on their backs, fronts, on their faces, and I think you are going to regret this sometime.
You never get the tramp stamp then?
Well, it was just I thought it was just too much. That's when I took stock.
Too much.
I mean, my son, who's not quite 27, he's talked about having a tattoo, and my answer to him is, think about it. I'm nearly dead. You've got to live with this for the rest of your life.
What a jolly mum you are, Andrea. Thank you very much. Rick's in Welwyn Garden City. Morning, Rick.
Morning, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Rick. What do you want to say?
Just on the subject of tattoos.
Yes, disgusting, aren't they? People who have them are idiots.
I don't know about that. I mean, I've got a couple myself, and I'm all for it, to be honest.
I could tell.
See what the problem is. You had a caller earlier that said that they reported a guy that was working on a butcher's for having sleeves.
Yes, and he got moved to the fruit and veg.
How disgraceful is that? I mean, we don't judge people by their appearance in this day and age, surely.
We should do it a little bit more, I think.
Oh, you're joking. Come on.
Of course we should.
Oh, come on. I mean, Asian ladies have been having their noses pierced and their navels pierced, and belly dancers have been doing it for centuries.
Well, yes, but you don't see a belly dancer serving meat in Sainsbury's, do you?
I wouldn't complain if they were, but I'm saying we've learned to accept different cultures and things in this country nowadays.
But tattoo isn't a culture. It's just disgusting. It's the lowest form of people being unhappy with their bodies, so they do something permanent to it. They should go and they should go to therapy or something.
Oh, come on. I mean, in this day and age, people have different cultures and religions around the world.
It's not a religious thing, though, Rick.
Well, I mean, there's a lot. If he was from Papua New Guinea, he had a bone through his nose and tattoos on his face or a tribal, you'd want to talk to him and you'd think he was an interesting character.
Yeah, but if it's some bloke from Welwyn Garden City who's got the name of his mum, tattooed on his forearm, I think, it's disgusting.
Well, that's his skin. It's the only thing that he has that the government can't take from him or his boss can't take from him. That's up to him to do what he wants with it.
Rick, it's me that I have to move on because I just want to squeeze Joe in. I have to look at it. That's the problem. Joe in Stopsy. Go on, Joe.
Hi there, Iain. I just want to say, I got 2 tattoos, yeah. One is hidden for my partner to see, that's it. There's another one...
Well, hang on.
Yeah.
Tread delicately because we have young ears. Whereabouts, roughly, is it hidden?
It's just below my 7 and 8 abs. So just above my right side.
Okay, right, that's fine. Yeah, I can do that.
It just says her name till I die. That's it. That's for her to see. That's it.
Okay.
That's the first one I got after 3 weeks of getting together. So that sent a message.
What happens when you split up?
Yeah, I've been told that.
Yeah.
Well, I've been told that, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, everyone says that. My mum and dad said that, you know.
I know. Well, 5 years running, Ian. 5 years running.
Wow,
and
that long,
still
huh?
Going strong.
Okay.
But the thing is, we've got another one, me and her, each on our right wrist, where the veins are, that each say forever, okay? So when you're walking, obviously that side of the wrist is...
you have the same tattoo as your wife?
Yes,
oh,
yes.
Joe.
We do. We
Why
both got one that says forever.
Why don't you just say to her, I love you? Do you want to go away for the weekend to Paris? Do that. That's much better than getting a tattoo done.
Well, that's the thing. It kind of sends a message. It's a little reminder, so when I don't speak to her, that she knows, even though she already does.
My little reminder is my wedding ring. You see, Joe, there are better ways of doing it. I've got to cut you off there because I was late for the last travel. I missed that. I don't want to miss this one. Thank you, Joe. 08459 455 555. Justin Dealey has found a man with a gecko on his head. We'll speak to him in a little bit. It's a thing we talk about every now and then. For some reason, a tattoo story always seems to pop up every few months. And there's a new tattoo story today. David Dimbleby, a man I have a lot of respect for, I did have a lot of respect for, has had a tattoo of a scorpion on his shoulder. I think they're disgusting, and most of you are agreeing with me. You're just actually not choosing to call in and say you agree with me. That's fine. Justin Dealey's been out and about. Justin! Oh, Justin! That wasn't... we'll get him in a second, because Justin has found some incredible... Well, he's found an incredible tattoo, apparently, which I'm looking forward to hearing about. I just don't get the attraction of them at all. Milton Keynes Richard says, I blame the transfers you used to get in bubblegum when you were 5. Brainwashed us as children. Yes, that's true. I used to like those transfers. And Ash from Luton, your attitude is disgusting. I think he means disgusting. And I think you're an idiot. I won't pick out all the spelling mistakes. You're an idiot, in my opinion. A close-minded fool. All walks of life have tattoos in cultures or just because they want one. Are you going to call a police officer or military man he's disgusting because he chooses to have a tattoo? Yes, I am. I do not think police officers should have tattoos. Soldiers do what they want. But police officers should not have tattoos. Grow up and be a little open-minded. If you don't like them, keep it to yourself. You're just a hater. And even if it's just you being sarcastic, you're still a close-minded fool. Just saying! Exclamation mark there. Ash from Luton. I'm not a close-minded fool at all. My attitude is not disgusting, Ash, in the slightest. It's common sense, and you know it.
I've got to say, though, Ian, Ash there's got a few things right, hasn't he?
Not any of the spelling of the words.
No, just saying, though, just saying.
Justin,
yes.
You interrupted the show 30 minutes ago to tell us that you'd found something brilliant. It better be good. Yeah. So here we go.
We've been talking about tattoos this morning. Obviously, David Dimbleby having this tattoo at 75. Ian, I've been out into the streets this morning, and some great advice coming up in this piece. I've been getting people's opinions about Mr. Dimbleby. Here's what people have had to say.
Well, I'm in a cafe here, and they're actually listening to Iain's show. Sir, what's your name, if you don't mind me asking?
Steve.
How many tattoos have you got?
1 or 2.
You've got them on your head, haven't you? Can you tell us why?
No, I ain't really got an idea. Just seemed like a good idea at the time.
What are those tattoos on your head, by the way?
It's just what's it? Gecko. Aboriginal gecko.
Did you have a gecko as a child or something?
No, not at all.
So no connection to you at all?
No.
David Dimbleby, at the age of 75, has got a tattoo. Yeah. What's your thoughts on that?
Fair play to him.
Now, Brenda, you're 72 years old.
Yeah, I know.
David Dimbleby, at 75, has had his first tattoo.
Yeah.
Do you think he's mad?
Yeah. At 75, yeah. What's the point?
So you don't fancy one yourself, then?
No. Sorry about that.
Madam, we're talking about tattoos this morning. I bet you love them, don't you?
I absolutely hate them.
Why do you hate them?
Because they're just too permanent. You can't do anything with them, and I just don't like them.
Philip, you have some tattoos. Tell us what you've got.
Eagles. All tattoos I had done in Hong Kong, right, some 38 years ago, when I was a young soldier out there. Every street corner there's a tattoo artist, right, with young ladies, and they used to invite you up into the tattoo parlour and ply you with as much drink as you wanted right before you had a tattoo done.
Good old days, eh?
The good old days, yeah. Not like it is today.
So Eagles, anything else?
A little Kung Fu man on my leg.
A Kung Fu man? Right, oh yeah, I can see that Kung Fu man.
They're well worn out. And tattoos on me arms. It's the worst thing I've ever done in my life, and I would encourage the youngsters of today to stop following the likes of David Beckham and these footballers and don't get tattooed. It's not right.
I mean, with the greatest amount of respect, looking at that Kung Fu Man, I kind of agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now, David Dimbleby has got his first tattoo at the age of 75.
Oh, dear.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm rather shocked at my brother, because my brother, right, is 56 years old, right, and he is a vicar, and he's just started, right, having tattoos done on his upper arms, pieces within God. They are religious tattoos, right, but I just don't understand people that want to get tattooed at that time. Later in life, and of course, right, like I say, all these youngsters of today, please don't do it. If they want advice from somebody that's over 60, don't do it.
Fair play, Justin. That was cracking audio. The fella couldn't remember why or what he had on his head.
No, it was really, really bizarre. He's probably listening to this conversation right now, but it was just very, very strange. Having a tattoo on your body, I would say, needs to represent something. As I mentioned earlier on, you know, if it's a family member or something like that, I don't see the problem with that. But having a gecko
or a Kung Fu Man,
or a Kung Fu Man, and there's absolutely nothing you can relate that to. Having a gecko on your head, for me, is just wrong. And you know for once.
Kelly, I may have ruined that by laughing over the end of it, but if you can clip him saying having a gecko on my head is just wrong, I may have ruined it. That was so funny.
Ian, it was a sight, but, you know, in that piece there, we've heard all sorts. Even a man who's 56 years old and is a vicar having tattoos, religious tattoos, incredible.
Justin, thank you. He says it like it is. In Justin Dilly's opinion, having a gecko on your head is just wrong. Margaret's in Milton... Sorry, that really made me laugh. Margaret's in Milton Keynes. Good morning, Margaret.
Morning.
I do love Justin. He's good, isn't he?
Yeah.
He does a good job. What would you like to say?
I agree with you.
At last.
It must interfere with their job prospects, surely.
Well, we heard of one gentleman being taken off the meat counter, demoted to fruit and veg.
What sort of jobs, employment do these people have that are covered in tattoos?
Would you like to see a copper with tattoos?
Not really.
No.
I mean, you don't see barristers, solicitors, doctors, or even nurses covered in tattoos, do you?
Margaret, stay there. Steve is in Sheffield. Steve, I believe you've spent a fortune on tattoos. Can I ask, how much have you spent, and what do you do for a living?
Oh, I'm a driver. I spent £9,500 on tattoos.
Sorry, it's not a brilliant line. For a second, I thought you said you spent £9,500. How much did you spend?
£9,500.
Flippin' heck, mate. Why?
Yeah, well, I can cover all mine up with a T-shirt and still go out and look respectable. I also have two good mates. One's a manager for Tesco's and one's a manager of a bank. And they've got full body suits.
Oh, what, everything?
Everything, apart from their hands.
So everything apart from their hands?
Hands and face. And so they can put a suit on and still look respectable.
Steve, are you married? Have you got kids or anything?
I've had a partner now for 16 years.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Spend that £9,000 on her.
I have done. She hasn't got no tattoos. She doesn't want any on her body, but she don't mind looking at them.
Oh, God, dearie me, Steve. Thank you very much. What do you reckon, Margaret? Thank you, Steve. It's not a great line, so I'll let you go. £9,500.
They must have more money than sense, mustn't they?
I know. You wonder what he's driving around.
I mean, it's such a shame because you get youngsters that aren't really grown up enough to know the consequences of having a tattoo, and they copy, don't they? And then 10 years, 15 years down the line, they live to regret it. Especially the girls.
Dimbleby's had one at 75 years of age.
Yeah, but it's not so bad for him because he won't be around that long, will he? Let's face it. If you're 15, 16, you have a tattoo, especially if you're a girl, and then you want to look pretty in your wedding dress.
You can't.
It's just... Oh, if you want to do modelling and they say, sorry, you know...
No tats allowed.
No tattoos. One day it's going to be so hip, so with it, not to have tattoos.
Yeah, we're starting that trend, Margaret. If you had to have one, what would you have and where would you have it?
I wouldn't have one.
If you had to. If there was
if there was no pain involved and I was forced, somebody had a gun to my head, I suppose under the armpit, because nobody would see it, would they?
What if your leg gets blown off? Hang on a second. Well, it links back to something we mentioned 3 hours ago, but it doesn't quite make sense. Margaret, you're a good sport. I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555. It's the number to call. Well, the show's coming to an end now, but you can start dialing JVS, who's talking about should we be offering cash incentives to mums to breastfeed. Don't forget, you can email me at any time, Iain.lee, IAIN.LEE at bbc.co.uk, and you can still have your say on the tattoo story and all kinds of things by going to facebook.com/BBC 3CR. Right, this is BBC Three Counties Radio. Travel news now. Here's Alice. Sorry? I got a shit. What?
No.
Why?
She's not there yet.
Oh. How do we get...
talk for a bit.
Oh, blimey. Okay, hang on a second.
So what would you have if you had to have a tattoo? You had to. Someone's got a tattoo gun to your head. You have to have one.
Alice is here.
This is Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Alice, thank you very much indeed. Excellent stuff. Right, that's it. That's your lot. Iain.lee at bbc.co.uk is the phone number. Don't forget this.
Having a gecko on your head for me is just wrong.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Iain.